No, you weren't.
Liar.
I've been sitting here all day.
Welcome to the underdog.
Sam's crying, everyone. Sam's crying.
It's not true.
Characters from Barney coming to haunt you.
Okay. Latex shirt.
Where are the cameras? Where are they?
Welcome back, everybody, to Since 96. I'm Sam.
Alex.
Tyson.
Got a great one for you today. Stay tuned.
Coming up, we got a few good segments for you guys. We got the doghouse and underdog moments where we bring ourselves down and then bring ourselves back up. We got just our tips, and we're going to do a little deep dive. But first, we're going to talk about Since We Spoke. Let's get into it.
So I'll start this off. So since the last time we spoke, Alex, in the previous episode, talked about this inception dream that he had, and it had to do with me and Aubrey having lasagna. And lo and behold, on our way back, Alex was dropping me off at home, and my wife texted me saying, "Hey, we're having lasagna." No joke.
Crazy.
She said, "We're having lasagna tonight. Do you have do you want something else, or is lasagna good?" I'm like, "Lasagna is great. In fact, it's been predicted that we're having lasagna."
I knew you would say that.
Dude, my mind was just blown. Like, literally right after the podcast last week, driving home, this happened.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, did you tell her, about the dream?" I'm like, "Nope." She's just like, "We're having lasagna."
What the F? Dude, we are 100% living in a simulation.
Dude, even more so than that. Did I tell you about this? I went to Jake's house that night.
Oh, no.
You didn't hear about this?
No.
Okay. So I go to Jake's house, and he's just like, "Hey, let's cook up a couple burgers." We cooked like 1 or 2 burgers, and then he's like, "Are you still hungry, man? If not, we had lasagna last night. So if you want, I can heat up some leftover lasagna." And I'm like, "Dude, where are the cameras? Where are they? Am I being punked?"
Where's Ashton?
Oh, man.
It was
lasagna everywhere.
Lasagna's just ruling my mind. Lives there rent free.
Just 100% being punked. That's so funny.
Yeah, it is a simulation. I was thinking about simulation yesterday.
Where are you?
On my way to where I park my car every day for work, it's like a 10-minute skate. And so I'm skating, and every day, there's a bus stop. There's a guy in this hoodie, rain or shine. He's got a ponytail, a mask, and it's the same anime hoodie every time I go. He's just an NPC. Always on his phone, always standing in the same spot. It literally makes me feel like I'm in a video game or something every time I'm passing him.
Bro.
Never looks up at me when I skate by. I can't talk to him. He doesn't have that functionality.
Weirdos. There's this kid in high school. You know Minecraft? Have you guys ever played? So
I haven't, but I know what it is.
So the creepers are like these green guys, and if you get close to them, then they explode. This one kid, I think he was on the spectrum, but he showed up to school every single day in one of those jackets, but he would zip it up, and he would just walk around acting like a creeper.
I know the type.
This was the entire year. He didn't stop. He just kept doing it.
I respect the commitment to the bit, honestly.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude. Weird people.
There's always one. I think my biggest fear in life is having a child. That child. Just where did I go wrong?
Sam would be the one to have that kind of child.
My son is like that.
You're going to a dark place for life now.
Giving him back, honestly. Giving him back.
Man, that's wild.
That's happened to me. I had early morning seminary growing up, like you guys as well, being in California. And every time I would skip, sometimes we would skip, and we would just be a few of us would be sitting in the car, just chilling, listening to music or whatever, just in the parking lot. Because I had to drop off my little sister. And I swear, every single day that we would skip, same thing. There was this old guy it looked like he was dressed for work, but he had gym shorts on every day. They're always a different color, but he had a tie and a shirt and tie on, but gym shorts and dress shoes.
Chavez.
And
Larry, right?
No. This is this random homeless looking guy.
Oh, what?
But
he
he
had
had a
gym
button-up
shorts. Yeah, like gym shorts, like basketball shorts, like bright red or bright purple. But he would have like a button up on with like a tie, I think. No, I can't remember exactly. But he always had a big briefcase. And he was old and he was just like waddling over to the bus stop every day.
The briefcase.
And I was like, where is this guy going?
I do not remember that at all. Was that your senior year?
Probably. Yeah, because we were in different seminary classes. I don't know if we ever
Yeah.
skipped together.
No, I
feel
was a
like
year ahead.
Yeah.
It's just poor coding on the simulators.
Straight up. They got, because they were like, oh, everyone's inside for seminary. They didn't anticipate me being outside.
This kid won't skip.
Yeah,
He won't see
so
this
they-
poorly coded NPC.
That's right. So they got freaking lazy.
Didn't even put slacks on the guy.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was so weird. It was so weird. Anyway.
Well, on the topic of Inception dreams, I had a really weird Inception dream this last week. So 2 days ago, I had a dream that I woke up and I was driving, and I was in like Kailua. And I was like, oh, and I pull over and I was like, oh man, I had been sleepwalking, and I drove all the way to Kailua from the North Shore sleepwalking. And I was tripping out about it in my dream, and I'm like
That would be
hanging out with you guys and like some other people, and I'm telling everyone about it. How I sleptwalk drove from the North Shore to Kailua. And then like a bunch of weird stuff started happening. And I'm like, oh no, I'm still in a dream.
Oh my gosh.
And then I hopped out of that one. So like now that we're talking about Inception dreams, I'm like, you guys might be having them more too in the future.
Dude, Sam, you need to eat some lasagna because you're going to have some trippy dreams.
For real. I'm like,
Some
why am I the
lasagna in
only
your
one
diet.
not having cool dreams? My dreams are lame.
It's because you're lacking lasagna. Man.
Nothing. All right.
Vitamin lasagna.
Don't text Jess right now. I know what we're having tonight.
To be honest, I had another dream that was pretty dang weird. And I remember consciously thinking, like, I'm not going to write that one down because it,
I don't
was like,
remember
I
it.
don't want to remember that. And now it's gone.
It's gone.
Like, I could not tell you what it was.
Whoa.
But I remember thinking, I'm not going to tell the guys about this.
I swear, every time I like have a dream in my head, kind of, and as I like go to tell about it, that's when it leaves me. Does that make sense? It's like in my mind, but as soon as I start to tell you guys about it, or like try to tell you guys about it, I can't think of what it is.
I had to make a note literally the day after it happened, and we had this shared note going on, and I wrote it down. Inception dream, driving to town in my sleep.
Dude, honestly,
And now I remember it.
yeah, we should just have a dream segment at this point because me and Tyson are having some weird
I'll
things.
start writing some down. I can't.
We'll do a deep dive into like psychedelic dreaming, or there's like a
lucid dreaming.
lucid dreaming. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So there's
There-
ways to like induce
Yeah, you can
lucid dreams.
do that. You can like try to lucid dream.
There's methods.
Yeah. One of them is because I tried it in high school. You like wear a rubber band on your wrist, and then throughout the day, you like pull it back and slap it, and you just tell yourself, "Am I dreaming?" And you just do that, and you just keep doing it throughout the day. Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? And you make it into a habit,
Oh my gosh.
so that while you're dreaming, you like do that, and as it hits you, and you ask yourself, "Am I dreaming?" Then you're like, "I am dreaming."
That would be so wild. I don't know if I've ever really like lucid dreamed where I'm like, I'm in a dream, I can do whatever I want. That would be wild.
Do you have flying dreams often?
I don't. No.
I've had a number of them, and like, depending on how I'm doing in life, I either am flying and soaring, or I'm like jumping really high and like about to fly, but I keep coming back down. And it's like I'm feeling limited, confined, and like it's just like is like an outward expression of how I'm doing in life. If I can fly or not in my dreams.
Sad. Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Heavy.
Tied down.
I would say more recently though, I've been flying.
Ooh.
Or I get
Yeah.
barreled and I'm always making it out.
Oh, that's sick.
I've had some barrel dreams that seem so real that like I'm convinced about it, and then I try to think about like the parameters of that day. I'm like, who was I surfing with? When did I get there? And I'm like, dang it, it was a dream. I didn't actually get barreled at
Dang.
Waimea
Ouch.
and make it out.
At
Ouch.
Waimea.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does sound like a dream. I have a recurring dream where I'm on like a BMX bike on like a dirt, like a motocross track, but I'm on like a bike because I'm always pedaling really hard. And it's just a reoccurring dream where I go off this really big jump into just white. And then I wake up in like a cold sweat. And I'd say this happens at least once every 6 months for the past 8 years.
8 years?
Like since I was in high school, I've had this dream.
Whoa.
Dude.
Yeah.
What's weirder, lucid dreams or reoccurring dreams?
For me, reoccurring dreams.
Reoccurring.
Because I'm always like, what? Like, how is that still in my mind?
That's what it makes me think like this means something.
I've never gone off a jump on a BMX bike in my life.
Honestly, for a couple years in elementary school, I had a recurring nightmare where it was the backdrop of the back left part of Camarillo Heights, like the fence, the back fence or whatever. And there was like a Grim Reaper guy, and he was trying to kill me.
Oh my
Whoa.
gosh.
And I remember that several times. Just, isn't that weird?
It's
Sheesh.
super weird. I have an animated figure, or I guess an animated figure that haunts my dreams and has since I was super young.
Same character?
Yeah, and it's so random. It was from an episode of Barney where the kids run into a tree.
You're not alone in
Bro.
the characters from Barney coming to haunt you.
Okay, right. So I guess not like animated, like a big guy in a costume. It wasn't scary at all. At the time, I think I was really little, and for whatever reason, it was traumatizing. And now it comes up in my dreams. All these kids, like real kids, run into like a big tree, and then they all run out screaming, and a bear comes out in a nightgown and a cap with a candle, and the bear is just like, oh, like where'd everybody go? Right? Not scary at all. In my dreams, when I see that thing, heart rate through the roof, like looking for exits, like
You can
get away
smell the
from me.
fear on you.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it's for literal years, I'll dream about that stupid bear. And in real life, I'm not as afraid of it. But in my dreams, it's like terrifying.
Yeah.
So weird.
Dang, dude. Yeah, we got to do a dream segment. Just whenever you have a dream, just write it in your notes or just somewhere. Just like write it down.
Talk about
'Cause-
real time in the dreams.
Yeah, that'll help you remember it a lot.
Have you ever had a dream that has predicted something in your life?
Yeah. I just predicted your lasagna.
I mean, yeah. That's true.
No, I have a few times. I can't remember like exact moments, but they're like the trippiest things. Like something happening at school, and then it does happen, and then you have this huge moment of deja vu, and you're just like tripping out.
I
You're
saw
like,
this
did
before.
I really dream this?
I had one really intense one. Not like intense as in like it predicted something intense, but intense as like everything came together. So like when I was in 8th grade, I had a dream that my family moved somewhere that was more rural, and I met this blonde girl, and by the end of my dream, I like kiss her, and then we leave, and that was it. And like months later, my dad lost his job, and we moved to Ojai, California, where I meet a girl that's blonde and have my first kiss with her. And I didn't even put everything together till like way later. That was like, wait a second. That dream literally predicted, but I didn't know it was Ojai. It was just like a rural area, and I didn't know the girl exactly. I just know she was blonde, and that I kiss her. But like,
That's wild.
yeah, that was the
Trippy.
craziest prediction dream I've ever had.
Whoa.
My mom, right before we found out the gender for Jace when Mac was pregnant, my mom didn't know that we were like going to find out. But the day before that happens, she's like, I just had a dream that you guys are having a boy. Next day, find out we're having a boy. It was weird. So like
she had a 50-50 chance.
she had a 50-50 chance,
Yeah.
but it was also the day before. Like we didn't tell her like that's when we were finding out. So that
That's
was
pretty wild.
a
yeah.
weird thing.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, let's see. What's new with me? So I bought a surfboard for my birthday coming up.
She's a beaut.
She is. She's right behind Alex.
Right behind me.
If you can see that one. The reason that is significant is because for a long time now, my idol has been Jack Freestone.
Really?
Yeah, for like a long time now. I think his style is sick.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a pro surfer.
I've liked him since like middle school.
Yeah.
Jack Freestone.
I always like since like the movie Soul Surfer, and I like found out about Bethany Hamilton and then her friend Alana Blanchard.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought Alana Blanchard was a babe.
Yeah, you stalked that Instagram, didn't you?
Jeez.
Yeah, I went on there. It said Sam Maitland liked all of these photos. Like, what the heck?
It was. I'm sure, like in high school, I for sure stalked her Instagram. Anyway, always thought she was a babe, and then she married this guy Jack Freestone, and so I think that's how I got introduced to him, honestly. And I found out like he was a pro surfer. He's got sweet style. He's got cool tattoos.
They got cute kids now.
Yeah, they got like cute kids. Everything. His whole life is just super cool. And I get a lot of like my fashion inspiration from Jack Freestone. And so when I was looking for surfboards and looking for a Paizel surfboard, anyway, I get down there to look at it and I flip it over, and on the back it says made for Jack Freestone. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this board literally is like calling to me. I looked it up because I'm like, well, I don't know Jack Freestone's dimensions. I want to see like how big he is, because that'll kind of determine if this board is actually like right for me or not. I looked it up. He's 6'1", 190 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm like 6'1" and a quarter,
He's bigger than he
193.
looks. Like on the camera, he looks kind of just like a scrawny surfer guy.
Yeah.
But he's like pretty big, broad-shouldered guy.
Yeah, he's no, yeah. And so I like looked it up. I was like, perfect. This board's mine, 100%. So
Dude, what are the odds of that? Like, that's honestly crazy.
literally insane. Again, destined to
Shred on that board.
shred.
Now
on
you
that
just need to
board.
surf like him.
Now I really do just need to surf like him. I wish. That
Yeah,
feels
Sam's
so
like,
good.
I'm the same height, same weight. Perfect. Like,
Same surfing ability. That's true. I get out there, I'm like, sport sucks. I can't ride this for crap.
oh yeah, but he's also a pro surfer, man.
Yeah.
Nah.
Another thing about this happened like a few weeks ago. My car broke down, but the crazy part is that I almost died. Not really. I've had more near-death experiences than this one, but I was on the highway. I was coming down the H2.
Oh, goodness.
Going like 65 or whatever, and my battery light comes on, and I was like, oh dang, something wrong with my battery. That sucks. 5 minutes down the road, the traction control light comes on. I was like, that's weird.
All while you're going 65,
the
lights are just popping on.
Auto braking system comes on. The power steering light comes on. All of a sudden, my whole dash is lit up.
Just
The
a
whole
Christmas
car,
tree.
the whole car starts like surging. I'm like surrounded by cars. The power steering isn't working. The power brakes aren't working.
Oh, man.
Bro, it was terrifying. So as quickly as I could, I got
That's
over
a
to the
nightmare.
shoulder and just coasted in the shoulder the whole way down, and then pulled off next to that Costco in YPO, and luckily made it to like a safe spot. But literally, as I like pulled to a really good spot, I was like, okay, I think this is a good spot to pull over. The whole car just dies. And I was like, oh my gosh. Long story short, it was the alternator, but it was just sketchy that the whole car just like died on me on the freeway.
You know, the whole car's so reliant on the alternator.
Yeah, I think it's just because I think the battery was really old and pretty like corroded. So I think as soon as the alternator gave out, the battery didn't have much chance, and it just died pretty quickly.
Like, that affects your power steering, your brakes, everything.
I
That's
guess
insane.
so. Yeah.
Well, because then your battery went out, which powers everything else.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
So-
power brake. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like
yeah.
literally everything. It was
No
wild.
mechanic, but
Yeah, no, me neither. And so I tried to troubleshoot it. Alex saved me. We went and got a new battery. Hooked it up ourselves. It took flipping all day because that car's a
of course, when the moment happens, you never have the right tools. You never have, like, you're never prepared enough, and then it always just takes so much longer than you anticipate. So, yeah, I was out there for like 3 hours with you.
It took forever. It was so annoying, and it was just to change out the battery.
And it wasn't even the battery.
And it wasn't in the battery. But luckily, changing out the battery, having a brand new battery, had enough charge. Even though the alternator wasn't working, it had enough charge to get me back home. And then I just let it sit for a while, tried to troubleshoot it, couldn't figure it out, and then was able to drive it to like Hauula and
Also,
get it to a mechanic.
we thought that it might be your alternator. And so once it was all said and done, I thought you were just going to go straight home. But no, Sam got all ballsy and he's like, I'm going to go to Costco. I'm going to go fill up some gas, do this before going home.
Oh my god.
Like,
Because I turned on the car and everything was working fine, and I was like, "Oh, sick! It was just the battery. Like, no worries."
Yeah.
But I was like, "Oh, it might be the alternator." But on my head, I was like, "Well," so I like pulled into Costco. I ran in. I grabbed a little foam board, surfboard, because we needed one, or I wanted one. Same thing. And then I went and got gas, and then I'm driving home, and then all of a sudden the battery light comes on again. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did I not just go straight home? So I like turn off the AC, I unplug my phone, I wrote on all the windows, and just I'm like, please let me get home. And I did.
That's good.
Yeah.
Didn't have to call
Dang,
Alex
dude.
again.
Yeah, I really thought, I was like, oh, F.
Alex, just stick close. All right. Just follow me.
Luckily he was.
Yeah.
He was following me.
I did go that way home just in case he was on the side of the road somewhere.
It would have been so bad. Because my biggest fear was leaving the car just on the side of the road somewhere.
Yeah, those cars get hammered.
It would literally, it wouldn't have tires when I came back to get it. It would not have tires. And then
the
I'd be
battery
like,
would be gone.
yeah. And then I'd come back again, and then the whole car would be torn apart and torched, and all the seats would be gone, and they would light it on fire. That happens to every single car on the side of the road. Every single one.
Yeah, totally.
Bro, have you not seen them? Oh my gosh, there's one.
No, they
on
get
the
ransacked.
on
for
the
sure.
windward side just this week.
Especially on the windward side.
I was in traffic, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Finally get to the point, and all these cops had stopped traffic because some car on the side of the road they had just torched. Freaking ridiculous. It happens all the time.
There's not crazy crime here, but there's so much petty theft and stuff like that. It's annoying.
It's like the biggest black eye of Hawaii, I think.
Yeah. We were parked on the North Shore one time. Some friends were parked in front of us with their Prius. And while we were all at the beach, someone came underneath their Prius and took the Cadillac converter.
Yeah.
Those people saw those off all the time.
Yeah. And so they like got in their car after surfing and then like couldn't get home.
Oh my gosh.
So just snuck under there, popped it off.
So annoying.
Have you guys ever had your catalytic converter stolen?
No, but I almost bought a car
With one.
with one that was stolen off, and the dude just like, he just got a pipe to replace it, but it was super loud. I'm like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
I had an old 4Runner in high school, and this was like years ago, back when I didn't even know I feel like it was like kind of just starting to be a thing. And I'd go out for school like any other day, start up the car, and it just sounds like I started up a Formula One car. I mean, it was just like, bah! I was just like, holy! It started up fine, and I was like, what the F? I turned it off.
Thanks for souping it up, Dad. See
Yeah.
ya.
I went and grabbed my dad, and I was like, can you come listen to this car? And then just like turns it on. He's just like, what the? Looks underneath. Yeah, I just sawed off. Someone came and just sawed it off.
I didn't even know 4Runners had them. Well, I guess all
Every
cars
car.
have them, but Priuses have like a more.
There's something
more
about the
gold in it or
Prius.
something?
So it's actually platinum, I think, is what's in the catalytic converter, which
That's
is what
what's
they
valuable.
want.
Mm.
And something I think Priuses are. It's like Priuses and F-150s. Ford F-150s are like the most common. But yeah, every car has a catalytic converter. And I think it's primarily older cars that have more platinum in them.
Huh.
But yeah, what it saws your exhaust pipe in half, basically, or your
Yeah.
muffler in half, so it
Yeah.
doesn't muffle all that sound. I drove it for like a week before we got it fixed.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because it can run fine. It sounded ridiculous. I don't know how I didn't get pulled over, because everyone down the street is just like, you can hear me coming a mile away. I was just like, what the? I don't know. Worked fine.
Jeez, crazy.
Well, I'm glad you're alive, Sam.
Thank you. It was sketchy, but we're making it out. The car's getting fixed today, and I got a new board that I'm stoked to try out. So life's chilling.
Yeah, we're glad you gave us content, That's what I said when your car broke down. I was headed out there. I was like, hey, this is great content.
Everything's content now.
Just living life.
Yeah.
Try not to die.
So also, since we spoke, I had my birthday.
Woo.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
2-7.
The big
90,
2-7.
Big 2-7, 96er. So my birthday actually, funnily enough, brings us right into the doghouse segment.
It's a bummer that your doghouse and your birthday are related.
Yeah.
That's a drag.
Yeah.
That's a rough way to start.
It is. Pretty much, our house was a huge mess, and it was in the morning. We weren't doing anything yet, and Mac had called her mom or something, was FaceTiming her, and so then I just started cleaning up, doing dishes and stuff.
On your birthday?
On my birthday.
Ooh.
And Mac is like, "Stop cleaning." I'm like, "Whoa."
Oh yeah.
But it's messy.
Yeah, I was like, "It's messy."
Nope.
And I just said, "Look, I don't care like if it's me or you. Like, I just want it to be clean." And she's like, "It's your birthday. Like, stop." And this went on for like a little bit, and she's like, "I'm actually getting really pissed at you." I'm like, okay.
Like, this is having the adverse effect of what I wanted it to do.
Just wanted to clean house.
Give me the birthday present of letting me clean.
Yeah, it was short-lived, but yeah, that was my little doghouse moment.
Dude, that's a constant thing of like, the dishes will be sitting all day, and like,
As soon
your
as you
pan
touch
with
it.
eggs, those eggs are sitting there getting like real foamy or whatever. And like, you've had it, you go and you wash it, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I was about to clean that." You're like,
I was just about to do that.
"No, you weren't."
Yeah. Liar.
You've been sitting here all day.
On the flip side, that's usually me on like taking the trash out or something.
Yeah.
And she like goes to take it. Hold on. I was just about to do that.
"No, you weren't."
So funny.
Yeah, that is. I know.
Oh,
As I
that's
stare at the
classic.
mountain of dishes over there. Oh my gosh.
That's a classic doghouse, honestly.
Yeah, it's a classic for sure.
That's great.
Am I up next?
Yeah, you go for it.
Mine was sad. So mine is titled "No Emotional Talks Right Before Bed."
When you wrote that in the notes, I showed that to Jess. I was like, "This one's gonna be a good one."
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like,
Ouch.
he's gonna go deep on this.
Yeah. Ouch.
I'll try to stay as surface level as possible, though, out of respect.
Yeah, of course.
But honestly, props to her. She was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about some stuff, but like, we're about to go to bed, so I'll save it for tomorrow." And I was like,
Well, you can't
just let me have it.
you
Like,
can't say that. Whenever
you
it's
can't.
like,
because then you'll be pondering like, what on earth is she gonna
You
say?
can't give the intro. You just don't say anything at all, or like you just go into it.
right? It's
for
like
me.
saying like, "Oh, I have something to tell you." I'll tell you. Like, never mind. You're like, well,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
I wouldn't be able to sleep. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what did I do wrong?
Yeah, you're like, this is gonna hurt so much.
That was my mindset more or less into it. So I'm like, no, just let me know what's going on. But I was really tired. I was like, honestly, if she didn't say anything, I'd probably still fall asleep because I was like, it was just like a long day or whatever. And so she like pours her heart out to me and some stuff. And I was just like trying my best to
Stay awake.
to be there and to like feel for her the whole time and be like as like sympathetic as possible. And I just failed completely.
You're like half asleep.
Like I totally failed her because I was only like 30% there.
Ooh,
You know,
that's-
low power mode.
low power mode.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was on low power mode and like the 5%. It was getting red.
What a great analogy.
That is a great analogy. I love that low power mode. I started saying that. Like, look, I'm actually in low power mode. I don't think I have the
Yeah.
auxiliaries to do this right now.
Yeah, but because of that, like I definitely didn't handle everything she was expressing to me, and then like definitely made things worse for her. And then like, yeah, I ended up not getting to sleep anyways because of that, you know. And it went on for like a long time, and like I tried my best to be there for it. Made up for it later, but that night I was definitely in the doghouse. So I learned that when she says something like that, just try to lock it away and just sleep.
Yeah.
Talk about it when you got more energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't ask about it if you don't have the bandwidth to participate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was a moment where I definitely should like hugged her and comforted her. Instead, I'm just like
He's like,
It's like,
I'm so cozy over
Yeah.
here. Sorry you're crying, but
Yeah.
I'm in the warm spot of the bed.
She's like, I'm trying to tell you I hate the podcast.
You're like, babe, I have to get up early for the podcast tomorrow. Can we talk about this later? What the?
Yeah, so no emotional talks right before bed.
No, yeah, I feel for you. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Gosh, Tyson. Just kidding. No, I get that. Love it. My doghouse. This is not something that happened recently. This is just a constant. I've learned if I want to stay out of the doghouse, you veer from certain topics. And for Jess, it's her family. And talking, how do I say this? Because everyone vents about their family to their spouse, I feel like, right? So like your parents do something or your siblings do something or your...
But you vent about your parents.
Right.
That's the key.
So that's
differentiator.
that's what's
I
hard.
see where this is going.
That's what's been hard. So I've gosh, there I go repeating myself. Hold on. Call this out.
Just to be clear, I'm not cutting this out.
Gosh dang it. No, I think I've learned that if Jess is venting about her family instead of me jumping in and participating, which I always
You're
want,
so right.
which is what I always want to do.
Gas on the fire.
And I'm like, hey, let's go for it. I've learned to just be a participant, or not a participant, in the audience, and just kind of like
Stay neutral.
I feel that. Instead of like, yeah, and you remember this one time.
Start bringing up old dirt.
Right, and then she's just like, what the crap? And then all of a sudden, her family's the best thing in the entire world, and I'm the enemy. And then
She's like,
it's
whoa.
complete 180, and she's just like, what the? And I was like, oh, okay. You know, you let her do the talking.
Dude, that's the same thing with just like problems in general. If Mac is complaining about a problem, I've learned the hard way that she doesn't want me to solve her problems. She just wants me to listen to her.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all learned that the hard way. But man, when we were first married, I'm like, I can fix it. Let me fix it.
It's so hard to change that.
I still do it constantly.
Yeah,
where I'm like, I can fix this in 2 steps. Like, this is so easy.
That's not what she needs, though.
No, never. What
She
they
doesn't need a solution.
But I always have them. But I'm so smart.
I'm the fix-it guy.
I'm so smart.
So my mother-in-law is so good at listening. So she has 2 daughters, and she's like on the phone with them all the time, like once a day at least.
Jeez.
And I just listen to the way my mother-in-law responds to my wife, and I'm like, that's how I need to be. Like, the way the mom listens to the daughter is so essential, as long as they have a good relationship, you
Right.
know. But like that should be like your example to go for. And she's so good at just being like, that's so hard. Yeah, oh man,
Period.
I feel that. But as soon as you present the solution,
What the crap?
It's so hard to not to just stop there. You're like,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, you're like, I totally understand. I wish there was something we could do about it.
We're totally helpless to this situation.
You're right. There was nothing you could do in that situation to make it better. But yeah, if you want to stay out of the doghouse, learn it quick. Listen, don't participate. Don't try to fix it. Don't gang up on her family.
Wise words. Amen.
yeah, I almost got in the doghouse this week too, for something very similar. We have a lot of family coming out to visit, and we were talking about days I should take off for work. And so she was the only one talking. I'm going to throw her under the bus a little bit here. She was talking about what days I should take off. And I was like, okay. She's like, you should take off all the days you go into the office with your family. And with my family, you only need to take like a few days off. And you probably don't even need to take days off. And I was just like, oh, okay. And she's like, why won't you take days off with my family? I was like, that was all you. Like, wait a second. Like,
Yeah, I get you.
but the fact that I agreed with it, well, I should have been like, no, I need to take off days to be with your family too. But because I didn't say that.
Are we starting a Wives in the Doghouse segment?
Oh, no.
Well, no, this is to avoid getting in the doghouse.
Yeah,
You got to read between the lines when they say stuff,
100%.
for sure.
They're putting out the feelers for you.
Little tests throughout the day. That's
Yeah.
always fun. That's always fun.
Well, now that we crapped on ourselves,
Let's bring ourselves back up.
let's go for it.
I'll go first. To start the segment of
Who's this guy?
Underdog, I came with the proof. I came with the receipts. So, my underdog
I
moment.
hope you have the receipt for those glasses.
Oh!
I will not be.
I hope you just throw them away. 'Cause
Oh!
you should just get rid of those.
Listen, again, proving my point. Welcome to the Underdog segment. So, Jess bought these glasses.
Clearly.
And so, but they're too small. No, they press on her head, so she doesn't like them. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give them a whirl.
I'm going to rock them.
I like them. I'm gonna wear them. So I'm wearing them one day, and Alex pulls some BS of like, oh, are those women's glasses?
And they were.
And they are, but that doesn't mean I'm not killing them. All right. So I was like, you know what? Screw Alex. I like these sunglasses. I'm going to keep wearing them. So I keep wearing them. Go throughout my day, go throughout my life. A month or so later, I'm on Instagram, going back to my idol. I'm on Instagram, and who should pop up but my boy Jack Freestone, wearing almost these exact same glasses, but they're like a collaboration between him and this other brand. These glasses were like, I don't know, $10. His are like $250. And they look
my.
almost identical to this, if not slightly more feminine.
And that's when Sam found out his idol was homosexual.
Not a chance. Just comfortable in his sexuality. So anyway, that moment for me was like, boom. I'm ahead of the trend. Alex is the one in the wrong. All these haters out here, they just don't know. They just don't know. And stay tuned, because a little bit of that is going to sprinkle into my just the tip moment. But I've said too much.
Mic
Sam
drop.
out.
I still stand by my remarks, but good for you, man.
Thank you.
Good for you. My underdog moment. So I'm probably like the worst surfer in my friend group, but I've been getting a lot better, like progressing and everything.
Your birthday, when we were surfing together, I said to Mac that your progress in surfing has been really fast.
Thanks, dude.
I watched you on a couple waves, and I was like, holy smokes.
Appreciate that, man.
100%.
I don't know if she told you that, so I want to make sure you know.
I think she mentioned that you said something, so thanks. But yeah, it goes along those lines that I've just been getting better. And so me and Jake went and we surfed off of Landon's boat this past week.
Whoa.
But it was like really last minute. He called me up. He's like, we got to go right now. I'm like, okay. And so we just like, he picks me up, stop by my house. I run in, grab my board. And then we park by the bridge out in Haula. And Landon was in his boat off the coast. And Jake's like, all right, we got to go. And so we're running. We like jump in the water. And he starts paddling like a madman, like he's trying to catch a wave all the way out to the boat. Because he's like, we got to get there. And he's just going.
The urgency.
Because we were like holding him up. We were losing sunlight. It was already like 5 something. So we had limited amount of time. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And it was a decent distance to the boat. And I start paddling, and then I realized that I'm like keeping up with Jake, and I kept up with him the whole way to the boat. And like that's the first time I realized that my paddle strength has actually gotten to like a proficient level where I can like paddle around and stuff. And I was like,
Go.
this is sick. And then we went out there, and then I probably caught like the best wave of my life. And Jake saw it all. It was like this left, unfortunately. So I was backside.
Was it a wave
but,
somewhere on the east side?
yeah, I was down by Pu'uena, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was just like, it
surfed out there.
was like a mile and a half offshore.
You have to have a boat or something.
You have to have a boat. No one is out there besides us.
So sick.
Honestly, super sick. And yeah, they told me about sharks, and that was like the first time I was actually sketched out about sharks. And so I was like laying on my board with my feet up and everything, but it was sick.
So, yeah, I won't talk about it.
It was probably only like 20 to 30 feet where we were at, but there's this channel right next to us, and it was 100 feet.
Yeah.
And so there's tons of,
Oh my gosh.
everything out
Yeah,
there.
dude, I feel like everyone that gets bit by a shark is always surfing an outer reef. Like,
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah. I was like super freaked out because within like 30 or 40 minutes from Jake calling me, we're like out there. I'm like, oh man, what did I sign up for? And we're just chilling in the water. I'm like, oh man, just don't think about it. Just
surf,
but I was
baby.
thinking about
Just
it.
surf.
But super cool. Just fun to know I'm getting better, you know?
Dude, such a good feeling. Like, such a good feeling when you're like bad at something for a while or just not good at something for a while. And then all of a sudden you kind of feel like it's clicking and you're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do this like a few months ago. Such a cool feeling.
You've been surfing like 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'll get you there. Honestly, that frequency, 2 to 3 times a week is like golden because you don't get burnt out, but like you're going enough for your body to make the adaptations that it needs to like get there, to progress.
Yeah, I feel like last year when I was trying to go out, I would only make it out like once a week. So then every single time, if the shoulder burn was like so bad, and it felt like it was the first time surfing in a while, every time.
Yeah.
And so I never got adjusted. And then I realized that pretty much all of surfing is paddling. It's like
95% of it.
Yeah, you're just paddling for so long.
So long.
So my underdog story. Well, I don't really have an underdog story that's more recent, but a past one was, so I learned how to pole vault at Nordhoff my freshman year. Go to Newbury Park, and they have like no pole vaulting anything. Like the pit that they had was from like the 80s. It had sat outside the whole time. So it was weathered, and like every time you jumped on it, the foam would just like disintegrate. And by the end of the day, I'd just be covered in the foam from the pit.
That's gross.
And it wouldn't even protect you. Like as I started jumping higher, I would hit the ground.
Oh my gosh.
Like through the pad, you'd hit and then go.
Yeah. Because like the foam had just disintegrated over time and like lost its like plasticity. It was just, yeah. No money in track and field, even like in the professional level. Like there's not really any money in it, especially in pole vaulting. I think the only guys that make like a decent salary are like the top 3 pole vaulters in the world.
Jeez.
And like, yeah, so even less at the high school level. Like, they're, if they had to decide whether to like put in a new turf field or to put some money for this pole vaulting pit,
Turf field every time.
or even to get hurdles.
Anything but the big foam pad. Yeah, screw that.
But I was determined, and I wasn't good at anything else in high school. So I'm like, I'm good at pole vaulting. I'm sticking with it no matter what. And there's this other high school called Oaks Christian, and anyone that's familiar with it knows it's like the rich kids school. Like Will Smith's kids go there, and like tons of famous people.
They recruit people for their football team in high school. It's like, who does that?
Yeah. Anyways, I went to a meet there, and so I didn't have any of my own poles. Like the poles that were there were also from the 80s, and they were all too small for like, I would jump, hit it, and it would bend so much, and like it had no elasticity to like shoot me up. It would just stay bent until it like,
Oh my
Did
gosh.
you say these are from the 80s?
yeah, 80s, 90s, before they, the person that held the record at Newbury Park High School jumped sometime in like the 90s, and had the record has stood since then.
Dude, I'd be like, I'm not using that. That thing's gonna snap.
I didn't really know any better either though. And so very beginning of the year, my sophomore year, I go to this meet at Oaks Christian. It's like a open invitational. So tons of kids are there. And I show up literally with just like my shoes for pole vaulting. And that's it. So I didn't have my own poles. I didn't have a coach. My parents weren't there. I just showed up.
No way.
Even your parents didn't believe in you.
But yeah, like zero support. And I just like went up to, I'm like, who's the coach here at Oaks Christian? I'm like, hey, can I borrow some poles? He's like, what size do you need? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll fill it out as we go, I guess. So he gave me some 10-footers and like 11-foot poles. And I blew through those ones on like the warm-ups. And then he gave me some bigger ones. And they had like, I went into their warehouse and they just had like poles and poles like everywhere, every size, every increment that you could need. I was like, this is sick. And so I grabbed some of their poles. And by the end of the meet, I had beaten all of their jumpers. And I did so well. So I got first place in that meet. There was a coach there that coached a club team like in all of LA. And he's like, hey, this is my contact information. Like, come jump with us.
Whoa.
And like usually it's paid, but he saw my circumstances and he let me do it for free.
That's sick.
Coming in on borrowed poles.
Yeah, so my previous PR too was like 10 feet from my freshman year. And I jumped 12.6 that meet. And I literally didn't even practice beforehand.
Because you were using 30-year-old poles all along. Then you finally get some good ones. You're like,
Some good poles, and I just like yeeted on up. So he saw that and he's like, come here.
Yeah.
dude,
What a
that's
nice
a
guy.
that's a true underdog segment. That's sick.
Yeah, felt really good about that ever since. And like the trophy from it was absolutely massive.
Dang.
Like everything else from track and field is usually like a little thing, but because it was like an Oaks Christian open invitational,
Private money.
oh man, the thing was huge. Biggest trophy I've had to date.
Oh my gosh.
That thing's still hanging up.
Dude, screw Oaks Christian, but at the same time, I loved having meets and stuff there for swimming or for water polo games. Oh my gosh. They had an infinity pool.
Just to use their facilities, right?
Their high school pool was an infinity pool. What?
Their high school's nicer than some colleges I played against.
And way
Yeah.
more expensive. Their tuition a year when I was in high school was $40,000 a year. I'm sure it's gone up. $40K a year. At swim meets, they had, I think they were always there, but they had like 4 hot tubs so that you could, before your race, get in the hot tub and warm up, physically warm up so that you were more like not gonna pull something.
That's literally a college, like a Division I college level thing.
I couldn't even
for high
like,
school.
oh my gosh, I couldn't even believe it. Our pool at Newbury Park was trash. It was literally like 50 years old. I
Great memories.
hate that pool. It was the worst pool. Well,
Sneaking into there like,
Oh,
late at night. Jumping off the high dive.
yeah, no, that's true.
In pole vaulting, can you switch out poles while you're going?
Yeah.
For different heights you can
Yeah,
use.
That's pretty standard. So it's like the distance you're from the pit, like the distance you run, you gain more momentum. There's also a lot more variables like your stride and everything. So your stride and your run has to be really on point for you to start moving back. And then the farther back you move, the more speed and momentum you have, and the bigger poles you can jump on and the higher you can jump. But it's like it's progression.
Is it like high jump too, where you get 3?
Yeah,
Yeah, what's it called? Misses?
Attempts.
3 attempts.
Is the pole itself that you're jumping with, is it always lower than what height you're trying to hit so it can fall under, or you have to throw it?
No, early on, like when you're at the beginner level, your pole is almost always taller than the bar you're trying to clear. So yeah, you gotta like get over it and then toss your bar back. Yeah, so it's one less thing you have to think about when you get to a more advanced level, but you're also jumping a whole lot higher, which
Yeah.
is harder to do.
For sure. For sure. That's so sick.
Crazy stuff. Now that we're done with that segment, can you take those glasses off?
No. Absolutely not.
Seriously now, so
You guys are trash. I'll take them off, although they do relate to the next one, but that's okay. I'll take them off.
What's the next one?
Just the tip, baby.
Yeah, my tip, and just the tip, is just get started. Whatever you're thinking about right now, just stop thinking about it.
Whatever the dream is.
Well, yeah, whatever the dream is. Stop researching. Stop looking, watching other people. Just start. Yep.
Yeah, I like that. When I have been getting into photography, that's a lot of people's advice is like, you can watch a million YouTube videos, but there is nothing like going out and just shooting and then looking at it. And it's super true. So many things that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I go out and I do a photo shoot. And then I'm looking at the photos and I'm like, oh my gosh, this or this or this. Like their heads are too far down and I can't see them in the camera. It's like, okay, I need to tell people on the next one to do this or that I never would have learned.
That's like the foundation of how like Facebook got built. Is like their whole mantra is like build, fail, reiterate. Build, fail, reiterate. Like
That's cool.
that's how you do it. That's how you progress. No, it's not going to be perfect.
It's like our podcast, clearly.
Amen. That should be our mantra. Yeah. Just failure after failure. But progression. My just the tip is for men's fashion. I heard this quote one time
Shop at women's stores.
and I loved it and I stand by it. And the quote was, if your girl doesn't hate your fit, you're not trying hard enough. And that extends
Who is this dude?
and that
What?
extends now to friends. If your friends don't hate your sunglasses, you're not trying hard enough.
I hate what you're wearing.
Try hard.
I stand by it. No, I worked with a kid. A kid in Rexburg told me that. He said he heard off some podcast, but he always had really cool outfits. I love that. He's like, if your girl doesn't hate your fit, you're not trying hard enough.
So like you should put on whatever you're gonna wear for the day. Go to your wife like, do you like it? And she says no change. You're doing it right.
Dang straight, baby.
No, she says, yeah, you look really good. Dang it. Go change.
I have to scrap everything.
Just never let her know that though. Make sure it's always a genuine response, or else she's gotta flip the script on you.
narrative.
My tip is be different.
Interesting.
So be different in the sense of like, I actually got this idea off Alex on our first podcast.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's different. Not that kind of different. No. Alex talked about how he hasn't been on social media for like 6 months. And so I would say majority of the world is on social media in one way or another. They have some sort of vice with it. And so I got off social media after hearing that. I haven't been on it for a long time or since that. And I feel like being different in a certain aspect like that, like since I'm not on social media, now I'm finding my time being used on other stuff that's way more useful, even if it's still like fun. It's just different stuff. But it's like the fact that I'm being different, like I'm going to be ahead of everyone else that is on social media all the time, because my time isn't wasted there. Because we all have the same amount of time, you know? I mean, not everyone's lifespans are the same, but like we all have 24 hours in a day. And if I'm not addicted to my phone like most other people are, I'm going to be ahead of them, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, super sick.
Also in surfing. On your birthday when we were surfing gas chambers, I tested this out a little bit. So like, you know, everyone starts paddling. I'm like, I'm just going to be different. And when everyone starts paddling, I'm going to sit right here. But when everyone sits, I'm going to paddle. And I got way more waves. Like,
Wow.
That's sick. Yeah.
because like I would be where everyone else isn't, and I wouldn't be competing for the same wave because I would always end up in a different spot than everyone else. So like being different, I had different opportunities and ended up with more
Yeah.
waves.
I like that.
That's sick. I'm gonna try that one.
Yeah, if you
I
just
mean,
paddle,
that works at a beach break, but at a reef break where
Right.
there's only one spot.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. All right, Alex, give it to us.
The deep dive.
The deep dive. Time to get serious on you guys. It's gonna get heavy for a sec.
Boo.
So, 2 days ago, Mac's cousin died, and he's around our age.
Ooh, sorry for booing.
Is he a notable 96er?
No, I don't actually. He was probably like 29, I think. Really young.
Dang.
They don't know exact cause of death, but they think either like a stroke or a heart attack.
29?
Mm-hmm. And it just makes you think, like, dude, our time is limited here. You never know. And like every single day is like,
That's so true. Dang, that's
yeah,
so sad.
yeah. So you can't take any day for granted that you're here. And especially us being dads or soon to be dads, like, man, I just went into like major reflection mode. And it was actually the day that we had that meeting, our sales meeting. And in our sales meeting, we were just talking about our whys for, what's your why? Why are you working? Why are you doing this? Specifically, it was why are we working at our company? But I kind of took it as why am I working in general? Like, I just kind of went deep on it. So, yeah, I was just kind of wondering if you guys have thought about your whys recently and why you're even working, why you're trying to be, I don't know, a good family man, like why your values, just anything like that. So anything that you guys have to like share on that.
Yeah. Do you guys have mission statements? Did you ever make one of those? Or one that you actually like stand by and read?
No, but I've heard you talk about that from, you've been reading that book, right?
7 Habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have mine in my notes.
That's awesome that you actually have one like written down.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
try to read it every day. And like the idea behind it is to live life principle based instead of just like being tossed to and fro. But find principles that you find to be like your truths, and then design your life around those truths, and read over it every single day, and try to make it into like easy frameworks, like, because if it gets too complicated, you're not going to remember. So mine's actually really, really simple. My principles are charity. It's going to get a little religious, but in the gospel sense. So like that scripture, the charity suffereth long and is kind and envieth not, that whole thing. So that's like the core of like what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to develop. And I try to create like daily habits around that. So I like to journal write, and every night I'll write in there, be like, how did I develop more charity today? Where did I do good? Where can I improve? And it's usually with just like those small interactions you have with your wife or your kid or people at work. So yeah, charity. And then this is where I got creative. It was try to obtain my PhD, but not like your PhD in the educational sense, but progress through humility and diligence.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. And then I go into like what that looks like in my day to day a little bit, but that's basically it. Charity and PhD. I feel like that's will make me happier and also, improve the lives of those around me.
Yeah, I think I need to write that down, because I've done similar exercises in like writing out my why, but it's always in like a random piece of paper or like in my notes somewhere. I can never pull it up that quick. So,
Pinned. Yeah.
oh, that's sick. Or I think even to like print it out and put it on your mirror or something, so like you see it every day. Yeah, so in our sales meeting, when we were asked about our why, I started going into more of my general why, and just like, I don't know, I learned some things that, it's funny when you have kids, because then everything like shifts to them, but at the same time, like, you still have a long life ahead of you, 27 years old, and I have this baby that I want to give everything to him. But in reality, like, it's pretty much 20 years that you have of your life. And even after that, you have a lot of life to live. Like my in-laws, their youngest just went off to college. So now they don't have any kids anymore. And they're still in their 40s, young. Like they have a lot of life left. And I think, so I don't really have an answer yet. I'm still just kind of like thinking about all this, trying to organize all my thoughts, but I'm trying to think of something where it's like deeper than just like I want my kids to have a great life, because you got to create your own life and your partner, your wife's life, and everything. So this is kind of where my thoughts are at. Not very organized, but
you're aware of it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. I feel like my wife's whys have shifted.
His wives. Wise. That
It doesn't sound right coming out of my head. Wise. What are your whys? It just sounds like I'm a wise person.
Do you think you could call it your foundation?
sure.
Sure. I don't think it matters.
I love it. My base, my foundation. I feel like up until recently, I really wanted money. Like when I was in college and stuff, I was so broke in college that I was like, I hate this. I would give anything just to have money. And I feel like my career choice currently is 100% revolving around money. I would quit this job in literally a heartbeat if I could do anything else that would pay the money that I'm making, because I just hate it. I hate it so much. And so as I've had this job, I feel like, and over the last 2 years where I've been able to make a decent living, I feel like it's changed a lot, where I don't care about the money as much, because whether you're making, as long as your needs are met, anything after that, it's just going to leave. It always does. The more you make, the more you spend. So I'm I made more last year than I did this year, but at the end of the year, I have about the same amount of money, because it was I just spent more last year. Point being, F. I told myself I wasn't going to say that. I want to shift from money, and I really want to create something. I feel like I never understood great men in history that really wanted to leave their mark on the world. I never understood that. I was always who cares? Who cares if people remember you? As I get older, I see that more and more. Not necessarily want to be remembered, but I want to leave my mark. I want to create something that has lasting value. I look at old architecture in Europe, and I look at crappy architecture here in the States, and I'm
it's true. Yeah.
There's a difference. There's a difference of putting time and effort and love and energy into architecture back then that was going to last thousands of years, where now we just put up things as fast as we can with the least amount of money possible just to get it done.
I learned about the Mona Lisa a little bit more, and I guess it took him 60 years or something crazy to actually paint the Mona Lisa.
Really?
And he said the majority of that time was just to get that enigmatic smile down. But that's why the Mona Lisa is what it is. It's such an iconic thing.
Yeah.
All that time and effort you put into one single painting. And I'm sure when he was working on it, by that time, he's not going to see the benefit of what he's doing or what it's going to become or the value it has, but it's some future thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to change that mindset sometimes.
Yeah, and so I think when the topic of, or when your drive is money, it's more of a quantity than a quality. And so I think at my base, at my foundation, I want to shift my life into more of a quality than quantity, and put quality into everything. Yesterday, Jess locked herself out of the house, and the only way to get back in when you're locked out is you have to climb up onto the roof and come in through the window. and it's super sketch. And I was 40 minutes away on my way to work.
This pregnant lady climbing up
And
there.
she's
Jeez.
pregnant. And literally, all I could think of was like, oh my gosh, Jess is going to like fall. So I was like, don't do that. I'll flip around. I'm going to come get you into the house. So I was planning on not working that day. I wasn't going to knock doors that day. And so she said, oh, we should plan like a photo shoot. Let's just ask one of our friends if they want to do like a spur of the moment photo shoot. And I was thinking about that. Yeah, I could just go and, okay, let's just go somewhere and take some photos just to get repetition. But I feel like recently I've really wanted to have like a storyboard of sit down and have the exact shots that I want and take time and make it a really quality shoot. And so I was thinking about that yesterday. Like, I don't care about doing more photo shoots. I care about the photo shoots that I do turning out the way I want them to turn out.
That's cool. It's something you learned because you started,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You've done a few where you didn't have a storyboard and you're like, you know, this would be really improved. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I'll teach you guys a little bit of knowledge from 7 Habits. There's a whole section in there where he talks about your foundation and base and your whys. And he goes through a lot of examples of various people and the different whys they have. Everything from like being family, or their centers is what he calls them. So like from being family centered to money centered to some people are even like enemy centered, where they like everything they do is just to get back at someone for something, which like seems crazy, but like there's actually lots of examples of people like that, in all the different centers that people have. And he breaks down like why all these centers are gonna leave you sad, even like being family centered, being spouse centered, being kid centered, because there's so much in those centers that is outside your control that you can't do anything about. Like, what if your spouse like cheats on you and stuff, and you were spouse centered? All of a sudden your world's rocked. You have no center anymore. It's like, what do you do? So it's like by the end of that chapter, he talks about being principle centered. So like if my principle is charity, and like that's what guides everything I do, no matter what happens around me, like I'll have that center. Nothing can really rock that, you know, because it's a principle that I live by. And being charitable is like, you know, I know that's a truth that I can stand by till my deathbed, and it'll like last and have a positive effect on everyone around me, no matter what everyone around me is doing, you know.
And not to say that because those things are going to rub off on your spouse and your family and all those other things. Yeah, that's super awesome. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I heard, it made me think of it when he said enemy centered. That's so crazy. I remember hearing a story, I forget who it was, somebody who, once they had made it, they had a t-shirt where they wrote the name of everyone that like didn't believe in them, and they wore it to like a press conference or something. And at first I was like, oh, that's so sick. He did it. He like beat all the haters. And then I thought more about it. I was like, man, that is so sad how much spite he had in his life. And like he did something. It's okay to like prove people wrong, but if that's what you get joy out of, like I did it, I proved people wrong, rather than I made something that I'm proud of and that's beautiful. And if people didn't believe me, that's their problem, not mine.
I think of that with haters all the time. They live rent free in your head when you do that. Because if I'm hating on Sam for his glasses, like that's just a funny remark to me. But he could take it the wrong way, and maybe someone would be serious about that. But then for me, then I just go on with my day, you know. I made him feel little or small, and then I'm living the rest of my life. But then for him, it's just sitting there, you know. And then it's like, why let that bother you, you know?
Totally.
Not to be political about it, but sometimes I swear like there's those hardcore feminists out there that just want to like, their center is to get back, you know? And we're just like any sort of political party that takes it too far, because there's those extremists in any situation. I feel like
Totally.
those people often get enemy centered. Like it's just about getting right, no matter what, you know.
That's a really good point. I think that that's probably a huge part of what's wrong.
Sorry to throw feminists under the bus.
Don't be sorry
But
about that.
you deserve it. Just some are more crazy than others. It's true. No, it's super true. I think that whether like you're enemy centered or I don't know like what the reverse is. Yeah, you're trying to find an enemy, or like your whole thing is being a victim, where you're like victim
It's a
centered.
huge thing in our society.
I think-
Everyone wants to be a victim.
Yeah, everyone's trying to say that either like finding an enemy or being like that's the enemy and I'm like the oppressed one. I feel like that's just everybody's mindset. And yeah, like you said, it's like you're not getting anything done.
Gotta take ownership.
And a lot of people, this could be one too, where they just have to be right, you know? And it's like, I heard on a different podcast, they were talking about marriages. And if you're in an argument, like, do you want to be right? Or do you want to have like a long lasting relationship with this person? Because honestly, what matters more? Like if you end up arguing with your spouse for hours and you finally prove to them like, yeah, I was freaking right, you know? Like what does that do?
They're like, oh, good job.
Right. And then
Good job, you were right.
Now you soiled your relationship. Yeah.
Right. And it's always, even in those moments where you're like, let's say you end up being right, it never actually feels good. You're always just like, well, I don't feel good about that. Like we're just not having a good time.
Yeah, and if that's your center and then you figure out you are wrong, there goes that, you know? Because you very easily could be very wrong. And
Yeah.
you probably are wrong. And in the future, you're going to look back and see how wrong you were.
It's a flimsy foundation for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeez.
Find that firm foundation.
Well, I think, Tyson, you gave me and Sam some good homework. I'm going to go home and write some of this stuff out.
Yeah.
Post it somewhere I can see.
No.
I like that a lot. Sam, you want to lighten the mood a little bit?
A little bit. This'll transition. I have one thing I want to read, and this transitions well because I've been doing a lot of like introspection recently, when trying to figure out like what I want my life to look like, and a lot of I literally just saw this morning. It was the sound on Instagram, and so I'm gonna read it because I think this is something. You know, if we're doing a podcast for people our age, I think that this is very common. I know we feel like this, and if we all feel like this, I think everybody does. This isn't necessarily to make anybody feel worse or feel better, but just kind of an interesting thing. So this one is called Panic Years. So it says, that's how my 20s have felt anyway. A panic to be perfect, to have everything figured out before 30. A panic to stay ahead of the cost of living crisis, buy a house, all while staying present because you're only in your 20s once, remember? A panic when people's success on LinkedIn makes my stomach drop. Or a panic when you have no plans on a Friday night when the rest of Instagram stories do. A panic to constantly self-improve, to read more books until reading more books becomes more of a chore than a hobby. Something to do just to tick off that to-do list. A panic to make people proud and spend time with aging grandparents. To keep up with trends, plan with friends. Something as easy as a skincare routine. Quite frankly, I'm tired of panicking about the panic years, but I know I'm going to continue to panic about them anyway.
That's another deep one. Jeez.
It hit me a little bit that it does feel like your 20s are just kind of, you're being pulled in like 1,000 different ways, where some people are like, you need to be planning for the rest of your life. Like if you work hard in your 20s, you'll be able to like retire early. But then there's other people who are like, it's your 20s, go travel the world. You're not going to be young forever. And then you're like, people are like buying houses and they're investing. And I have this friend on LinkedIn who literally just started a company and he's killing it. And then, but I also have other friends who are like, backpacking across Europe and making these unbelievable memories. And it just feels like we're being pulled in like 1,000 different ways.
I feel like a lot of that panic derives from different social medias, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram. Like it mentioned all of those. It's like it's not real. You're seeing all this like just highlights from other people's lives.
Comparison. It's the thief of all joy. Because, that person who's grinding and buying up real estate and has no social life, they look at the guy that's trekking around Europe with not a dime in his pocket, jealous of that guy. And vice versa, Then the person who doesn't have anything, traveling, having fun, looks at the successful person and he's like, shoot, like I should be doing something more. So yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, I think the important part, or at least if I could give some advice, I think everyone feels a slight panic that they're doing something wrong or that they're wasting their life doing something that isn't important. So whether you don't have a dime to your name and are just trying to make memories, or you're trying to stockpile a nest egg for the future, I think it's important to remember to find the happiness in that and to pull that out. Because at the end of the day, if you're 29 and you die from a stroke or a heart attack, if people look back on your life, whether he was a workhorse who was stocking up money or whether he was out basically living like a vacation his whole life, if he was happy, isn't that what people would really want to see?
And would you rather have 30 years of happiness or 70, 80 years of just mediocrity, hating your job, hating your life,
I think that honestly all goes back to that. What's your center? Because to come up with a center that I showed you guys, that was like 2 years of meditating and like rewriting and figuring it out. And like like I've been reading 7 Habits for 2 years. And I haven't read it a bunch of times. I'm reading it just like super slow and like digesting it all. And it was a big move to get us out of North Carolina to bring us back to Hawaii and to kind of like build this life that we have right now. And I feel way more at peace after doing it, because like the way you think about your situation matters way more than what you're actually doing. Like 2 people can be doing the exact same thing, but one person's on social media seeing someone else and is panicking, while the other person like isn't, and they're just like enjoying where they are in that moment and everything. So it's like what you're thinking matters way more than what you're doing.
That's awesome. To top off that little like poem, I guess, one of my favorite poems, and I don't know it verbatim, but I know the gist of it, kind of goes along with this. And it says, when I was a kid, I was dying to be a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was dying to get my license. Then I was dying to get my high school diploma. And when I got that, I was dying to go to college. When I got to college, I was dying to graduate. When I graduated, I was dying to get married. When I was married, I was dying to have a kid. When I had a kid, I was dying for them to grow up and leave the house. And then I was dying for my kids to have kids. And now I am dying. And I look back at the rest of my life, and I wish I had lived.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Kind of like to go back and forth on that. I think that's like a dichotomy too, because it's okay to want to progress, but there's a limit to it. Like if that's all you're thinking about and you're not taking a moment to enjoy, then yeah, you're taking it too far. You're not living. But yeah,
for me, it's all about like living in the present, but knowing that there's super good stuff to come, and your present, it might not always be the best of times. You might be broke or poor or be going through something really hard. There's still some good things you can glean from that. And then just know that there's really good times ahead. And not to be focused so much on the future, but just to be aware of it, that like, it's going to be awesome when your kids move out, but it's really awesome right now getting to see them grow up and all that.
Heavy stuff. All right.
Is that a tear in your eye?
Is it? No, but
Sam's crying, everyone. Sam's crying.
it's not true. To end off on a lighter note, a gun to your head segment. Would you rather, gun to your head, would you rather wear skin tight latex pants every day for the rest of your life or skin tight latex shirt?
Shirt or pants?
Yeah, so like either you can wear a regular shirt with skin tight latex pants, or you can wear regular pants with a skin tight latex top.
Are they long sleeve or are they like short sleeve?
Which one's worse?
I don't. Long sleeve.
Sleeve. They're both long sleeve. They're both long.
They're both long.
Yeah.
Legs.
Your calves would look magnificent in them.
Boom. You look like you're
Wearing like a leggings with a long t-shirt. Your typical white girl outfit. But then the other one, every pair of pants you wore would look massive because you're just skin tight. Everything's just pinched.
I have a funny story actually about this.
When you were wearing skin tight latex.
Skin tight latex on the runway.
Oh, that's right. You did some modeling.
Modeling runway thing. Hot pink skin tight with like these freaking baggy pants and like a bucket hat and this thing.
Nope.
This guy's judging me for my sunglasses. What the actual? There we go, baby. All right,
I
so
literally walked the runway in that, and I would have to say I probably prefer that.
you probably did the top over the pants.
Yeah, I would choose the leggings.
I'd probably do the top as well.
I'd just be self-conscious about the bulge the whole time.
Why?
Enormous.
All right, well, that's sweet.
Ending on that note, that's like, subscribe, and follow us on all platforms.
Tune in next week.
This has been Since 96 Podcast.
Bye, everybody.